Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. My name is Will, and joining me this afternoon is my buddy Sam. How are you, Sam?
All right, Will, it's great to be here with you today.
It's good to have you. So, we're in Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think looking back through everything that I've went through in my life and watching people day to day, I think we kind of need some guidance on how to tackle the day. What can we do to stay focused and positive and happy? What can we do when there's people in our life that is just they're unhappy, then they want to make sure that everybody else is unhappy, and yeah, it can be quite overwhelming at sometimes.
Yeah, it can be a real toxic soup out there. I completely understand that I was lost in thoughts for many years myself. 40 years lost in thoughts, and I got very sick from that, taking my thoughts as truth. All these stories that we hear about ourselves and we identify with our thoughts. So when we really get trapped in the day, we just have to understand that we're just lost in thoughts. But most people don't even realize that they have thoughts, but they're not their thoughts. You are the awareness of thoughts. So we need to just back up a little bit. If you're being caught, you're being triggered, there's a way out. It's just learning to practice, learning to be here in this moment. So it's really about just slowing down and just trying to keep yourself grounded in this moment to the best of your ability with no judgment, no criticism, because that's keeping the thoughts engaged, keeping the mind overactive.
Mhm.
And life is very difficult. If we're constantly chasing thoughts, then it just keeps the situation going. If you want to stop the situation, create a new direction, it begins by learning to be here. Like, where are your feet? Like right now, you're listening. Where are your feet? What are you sitting on? And engaging this moment.
And I know exactly, being grounded is kind of difficult for some people because they don't look at it that way. I know sometimes for me, when I get triggered, um, I take a step back and I'm like, okay, this is my trigger. So how do I deal with my trigger? And part of the thing is um, I have learned to either meditate or um, just plain old walk away from that trigger. Um, and people think, oh, I don't have 20 minutes or 30 minutes to meditate. No, I meditate in 5-minute intervals several times a day because I feel that um, doing that, it brings me back down to being grounded. And,
Yeah.
either it's putting some soothing music in your head, or just going to a different location, or just maybe nothing at all, going someplace where it's completely silent and just breathe.
Yeah, that is perfect. I love 5 minute meditation. 5 minute meditation changed my life completely. From 5 minute meditation, I no longer have six incurable diseases because that mind was no longer a source of truth. So we don't even need 5 minutes, even 20 seconds, just 20 seconds. Just come back to your feet, come back into this moment. So meditation is nice, but the real world is happening out there, and we need to navigate this world. So while meditation is good, it's useful. It's changed my life. It's changed a lot of people's lives. We're still, as we're talking about today, how do we deal with the day? It's fine when you're meditating, everything comes back into place. But it's the situation, like, what do we do when we're in the midst of it, in the midst of the chaos? And what I suggest to people that are really dealing with panic attacks or going into a situation that triggers panic, maybe going into a store and buying an item will cause some people to go into panic. Well, what do we do in this case? We become hyper focused of this moment. We don't think about buying that purchase. We notice the color of the floor, the music that's playing, what we can see around us. When we're getting into the checkout counter that we would normally freak us out, which shirt are they wearing? What's their hairstyle? Really become hyper focused in this moment, that we're either aware of this moment or we're lost in thoughts. So it is a practice of standing in line and just noticing your surroundings, not regurgitating the stories and the drama of the day. So it's really a living practice, a moving meditation of just
Mhm.
staying present here in this moment. And that is a practice of just being here. And we want to let go of all this mental engagement as well, of letting go of any judgment of yourself, of any criticism of yourself, because this keeps the mind engaged. We just want to simply learn to be here. And it is that simple, just learning to be here. And just by 10, 20 seconds is enough. Long as you're coming into here, you're putting a gap into the thought stream. The more gaps into the thought stream, the more inner peace. And that's where the magic happens, in this inner peace.
Some people um, classify it as finding a happy place. And I necessarily don't, well, I shouldn't say that I don't have a happy place, but, you know, I know for me, when I am in a crowded kitchen or we got a lot going on and I need a little something to calm the total chaos that's going on, I switch my mind over as to, okay, so on the other side of this chaos is a peaceful transition of a meal period or of a party that's going on, and I tend to visualize happy people walking around with food and enjoying each other and all of this stuff, or I'm just either in a mall or something like that, and I'm just watching the happiness go around and kids running around and being just kids. Um, but for some people, it's difficult. And what I've noticed is a lot of people will just, they'll put their hands on their head or they'll just start yelling or start talking gibberish and they tend to lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Find our happy place. And our happy place is always within us, but sometimes we need that happy place. That visualization you mentioned is so important, because to realize when we're happy, joyful, really enjoying this moment, how does life flow? It flows a lot easier. If you're angry, upset, it feels like you're stuck in the mud, life isn't moving. So visualization, finding that thing that makes you happy, is so important. Is it reading a book, watching a video, listen to comedy? We want to elevate that mood, because elevating our mood makes life flow easier. If you're stuck in a lower state, you're really stuck in the mud. And we really want to change that around to whatever it is that makes you happy, and finding that one thing that you can turn to, because our spirit, who we really are, is naturally happy. It's we get into all these stories that decrease our happiness. So we really need to get back into that awareness of who we really are, the one that is aware of thoughts.
And how do you do that?
Where are my feet? What do I see? Keeping myself engaged in this moment. And sometimes might be touching things. I'm doing my best to stay in this moment, to realize I'm either caught in thoughts, the stories, the drama, or I'm fully here. Fully here, reality is neutral. Just understand, when you are fully here, reality is neutral. There's no story, there's no ideas, there's no beliefs about it. You're just fully here. When you start getting ideas, beliefs, opinions about it, you're getting caught in thoughts. You're stepping out of neutrality, but you want to start looking for the good in this moment. I'm alive, I'm breathing. Once again, you want to keep that mood elevated, because life flows easier in an elevated mood versus being sad, depressed, angry. And just noticing, letting go of all judgment and criticism, and just noticing. But it is a practice. It is a constant practice now where I'm here. If I get triggered, I quickly come back into this moment. Being triggered is human. So we're not denying our humanness. This is normal. But we want to start bringing the reins in so we can diminish those triggers, so we can enjoy life. The life is just so short that we don't know what's going to happen an hour from now, tomorrow. We have no idea. We have all these plans for tomorrow, but they may never come. So we just want to do our best to enjoy this moment.
And again, I ask, how does somebody in, let's say, traffic do that?
Grab your steering wheel. Grab your steering wheel. Is it hot, cold, rough, smooth? Engage that steering wheel. Listen, notice what's playing on the radio. Notice the surroundings. And if you notice when you're driving a car, if you ever got to some place you have no idea how you got there, it's because your subconscious took over and drove the car while your mind was lost in thoughts. So all we're trying to do is stop the lost in thoughts and just being here. So it's engaging with the steering wheel, feeling your feet on the pedals. It's really these little practices that we can do. And your mind will grow bored because the mind likes being in control, dragging you all over the place. But we're here to take control of our life and realize we are the author of our life and we are holding the steering wheel. Are we allowing the mind to drive us into a ditch? Are we aware that we're holding the wheel and we can go any place we want when the mind's not in control?
So when somebody is in this state of unknowing and they're not grounded, and the thought of, I just want it to end, comes up, and they don't see a way out, they don't feel that they're being heard or being seen, or they're going to they're going to take a drastic act to be seen and heard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a last ditch effort of crying out for help.
Yeah, I totally understand this place because as a bipolar, I was suicidal. I was really in this dark night of the mind where you couldn't see a way out. When you really can't see a way out, then you call someone, you reach out to someone. Because when you're really consumed by that mind, the dark night of the mind, then you really want to find someone that can hear you, understand you, really bring you back into presence. But I didn't have that. It was really the dark night of the mind because the soul never goes dark. It's really all these mental stories that create this darkness, that we are the light itself. But when you're consumed by this darkness, you really need to talk to someone. You need to reach out. You need to do a simple meditation to pull yourself out of that, or listen to music, finding your happy place. What you were talking about, Will, before was really good. Finding your happy place. When you're really in this dark spot, what's that thing you can do to change your mood around? Your favorite song, the favorite person you like to talk to, your favorite vacation spot, your favorite hangout spot. Is it the record store? Is it an electronics store? Is it a bookstore? Sometimes you just need a change of scenery and doing that. But once you're consumed by the mind, it is very hard. So we need to find that happy place that you're talking about. Well, we really need to have that, because I faced suicide a few times because I didn't see any light, because completely consumed. I didn't have any of the tips to go find my happy place, to listen to my favorite music, to talk to a loved one, something to pull you out of that, to remind you of your strength, your worthiness.
I remember 5 years ago when I was on the verge of suicide and sitting on the edge of my bed, knife in hand, just ready to go, ready to go. But there was something in the back of my mind that said, nobody wants you to go. And I'm like, I'm literally sitting there and I'm like, God, what? Who? Give me a sign. Give me a reason why I should stay here on this earth and not be miserable. And sure enough, I got the sign that I was looking for. And it came in a very awkward way of I heard my not then now, but my now life coach come on and do he was on an Instagram posting. And just listening to him and what he was saying triggered my mind
Mhm.
of, okay, well, maybe it's not so bad. And, you know, it took a while for that to sink in because, it had, after playing it over and over again, and then having a conversation with the gentleman, taking a step back and realizing, oh, okay, it's not that bad. I was making it more than what it was, and I was heard for the first time.
Mm.
And for somebody to sit there and say, "I hear you, I see you, I understand what you're feeling," that was major for me.
Mhm.
And over the next several years, I learned how to recognize when those bad times were coming up. I learned how to see them for what they were, whether it's a miscommunicated item of topic of conversation or a missed feeling or somebody said something to me that I just took the wrong way or whatever it was. Um, I had one of those feelings in April. And I remember these feelings because I remember the emotion that I was going through. Um, I had had a very difficult weekend, and um, I was ridiculed by two people that I hold at a very high esteem in my life, and I didn't understand why they were attacking me. I didn't understand why all of a sudden was I the focus of this unprovoked attack. What did I do that was so wrong that these two people felt like they had to lash out?
Mm.
And it took me a while to understand that it really wasn't me that they were lashing out at. They were unhappy.
Mhm.
And they chose me to lash out to help get them through whatever they were going through.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, that doesn't make much sense. But then it did make much sense because, if I was allowing other people's emotions to override my emotion, that wasn't good. If somebody's going to sit there and ridicule you or yell at you or scream at you, just sit there. Let them get it out. Because obviously something's going on in their life that they're not happy about, that they just need to vent, and you're the vessel for which that is going to happen at. But I took it personally, and you
Mhm.
can never take it personally because a
Right.
lot of times it has nothing to do with whatever you did or said
Mm.
or whatever you're doing. It has nothing to do with you. So I had to go back and really look at the situation as how it developed and what took place. And, you know, over the next few weeks after that situation, I really had to sit back and learn how to not let others affect my emotional well-being just because they were unhappy.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I completely get that because it's always about that individual. It's never about personal. And they're just revealed a trigger within you that needed to be resolved. So they found something within you that stirred you up in this trigger. And to realize people are constantly projecting their stuff onto you. And I think it was really beautiful that you mentioned, when you're in a very dark place, an inkling came, an insight that to do something different. And that's what we have to realize, that the spiritual realms are always trying to get our attention. If we just ask for these signs, this attention, we will get that. I was also in this really dark place and really consumed by my mind and really stuck with these 6 incurable diseases. But spirit was constantly trying to get my attention, and I was getting sicker and sicker. Life was getting more and more off track. And with MS, you deal with a lot of fatigue. So I was very tired a lot. So I used to watch a lot of TV, and I used to watch ghost hunting shows, but I didn't know if they were real or fake. It was TV. But I saw a tweet from a ghost hunter. Hey, we're having this event in Philadelphia. It's like, oh, I can go to this. So then I had an experience that changed everything for me. There was somebody sat next to me on a bench that didn't have a physical body. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Well, what's going on here? But that ghost hunt, realizing there's more to the world than I can perceive and see with my eyes, because I was always in the IT space, very logical. I had to see it to believe it, and that was my mentality. So now we have this ghost. Okay, ghosts are real. Before I didn't know it was just entertainment. Now I know ghosts are real. So then I read a book from a medium that talked about, who talks to ghosts. That's what mediums do. But they talked about meditation. And through ghost hunting, I found meditation. Through meditation, I had thoughts, but I wasn't my thoughts. And then once I understand who I was, the 6 diseases left. I'm no longer disabled. I'm healthy today. But I paid attention to what the universe was trying to tell us. We have to pay attention that the universe is always getting our attention. Hey, you can keep going down this path, but there's another way over here. There's another way over here, but we get so consumed, we get our blinders on, we can't see it. So sometimes it's a really profound thing that we need to go through to realize, hey, there's help available. There's another way if we just pay attention to this. And that's why we really just have to just slow down so we can pay attention. And for you, it was sitting on the bed and really questioning, if God is real, give me a sign. And yeah, your spirit will talk to you, because we are spirit connected to all that is. And I heard that voice too, perfect spirit, that we just have to take this time out. Really, sometimes it's a very dark place we need to get into, and we have to ask, give me a sign, and a sign will come. And we have to pay attention. We can't keep say, give me a sign, and get lost back in our thoughts. We have to be aware the sign comes in the silence. Otherwise, you'll just be lost in thoughts. So it's about being there when you're sitting on the bed with this dark night of the mind and asking for a sign, and you listen for one and you received one. And that's really good insights for people to understand that if we're really in a dark, dark spot and you really get quiet and still and you ask for a sign, you will get one. This is all what Neil Donald Walsh did as an alcoholic. He was asking God, like he was listing all these problems. If you're real, God, talk to me, or something to this effect. And God talked to him and he had this conversation with God. But sometimes we really need to hit that rock bottom to see a new way forward.
It's hard sometimes
That's
to
very
see a
hard.
new way forward,
It's very hard.
because if you're not open enough to, one, receive it, and two, act on it,
Hmm.
then it's yeah, you got to be open to it. And when I was sitting there asking for a sign, well, the sign can come now or it can come 2 days from now,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll get what you need because you're asking for it.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, I mean, it's tough because every afternoon when I get in the car on my way home from work, I have a 30-minute transit drive from work. I talk to myself. Crazy, yes, maybe a little bit, but it's like, okay, so this happened. Why did this happen? And how do you keep it from escalating? There's a few people that I work with that I can't stand. It's
Mm-hmm.
because they bring such negative energy into the space that they don't see it. And no matter what you say to them, they're never going to see it because they're not open enough to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And they think that the world evolves around them and they do no wrong and things like that. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm glad you think that. But the effect that you have on the people in the space that you're in is profound because you're putting everybody in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And you know, people need to realize that we affect everything around us. How
Mm-hmm.
we act, how we talk, how we walk. It's all affecting the the world around us, the energy around us. And once I realized that, every morning before I go into work, I close my energy off. I will literally sit there in the car and close my negative, or not my positive mindset off to whereas I don't allow the negativity to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And I close my aura off to whereas I walk in, I do my job. I'm I associate, I talk, but I'm not going to get deep and I'm not going to allow somebody's negative thoughts to affect me.
Yeah.
And especially the young people, in this day and age, I mean, they are TikTokers. Everything on TikTok, everything on Instagram, everything on social media, period, affects their world.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they saw it on social media, they think it's true. Okay, you know, be that as it may, nothing I can do to change that. Because I was asked the other day, he goes, "Why are you just not? You're antisocial." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm just protecting my energy."
Mm. Yeah.
And he gave me the craziest look. Excuse me, of the hiccups. And I'm like, "Why are you looking at me that way?" He goes, "Well, that's just crazy. In what way is it crazy?" And he couldn't answer me.
Mm.
I'm like, "Have you really truly thought about it?" He goes, "Thought about what? Protecting your own energy. The energy field, your aura that you give off that allows people to affect you, be it positively, be it negatively, be it whatever. If you don't protect it, it's going to go crazy. And you're going to get bombarded from all points,
Mm-hmm.
every avenue, everywhere you go, from the coffee shop to the grocery store to home to school to work, everywhere. You're going to get the negativity and you're not going to know what to do with it till finally you're going to be sitting on the edge of a bed with a knife in your hand.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the year. 100 over 150,000 suicides this year so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
80% of those are men.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit back and I'm like, why? And I'm like, I could have been one of them. I
Mm-hmm.
chose not to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it baffles me that 80% of those committing suicide are men.
Yeah.
What is so bad? Money, work, relationships. It's not all that bad. It may seem that bad in the moment because you're just like you're getting hit from all sides. But if you stand back and look at the problem, you're going to realize that I can do this. You can fix this. And sometimes you just need to walk away. And if the relationship was truly meant to be, it'll come back.
Yeah.
If the job was meant for you, it'll still be there.
Mm-hmm.
And those were major for me because I kept like, why am I here? Why am I there's a vicious cycle that I kept repeating. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, what have I not learned to break the cycle?
Yep. You mentioned some really good points there. What it all comes down to, people don't know who they are. They know themselves as flesh on their thoughts. That's what they know themselves. Like when I would have told this young person, you're no longer wearing a toddler body. You're no longer wearing a teenager body. Do you see how your body comes and goes? You're not that. You're the one that sees through the eyes. You are this energy. This is why you want to protect your energy, because you are energy and everything influences it if you allow it. So you need to protect yourself from energy that's not supportive. But it all comes down to this basic question: you are not your thoughts. So when I realized I wasn't my thoughts, my whole world changed. And it got me in question was, before, I am my thoughts. I have multiple sclerosis. I have bipolar. I was bipolar. I was multiple sclerosis. I was that disease. I didn't realize the body has that disease. My spirit does not.
Right.
And once I was able to separate spirit from body, everything changed. But most people don't have that realization. It was World Suicide Prevention yesterday. And I think it was every 40 seconds somebody was committing suicide. I think it's down to 36 seconds now. That's actually getting worse. Mental health is actually on the decline because there's the TikTok world, the impatient world, that things won't have to happen now. And it keeps the mind engaged in these thoughts that I call the head trash. We want to throw out this head trash. We want to go beyond the head trash, all those stories, all those triggers, and just remember who you are. Perfect spirit, the soul, the spirit, the consciousness, the quantum field, whatever you wish to call it, to realize you are energy. But we get hung up on this body, this form, this condition, this situation, but it's all temporary. The only thing that's going to stay here forever is the energy that animates this body, and that's who we are, the energy that animates this body. So when people don't know who they are, the best thing we can do, like you said, is just protect your energy. And that just means maybe just talking very little, not engaging, not amplifying their story, of stepping away from it. And that's very good. Most people are not stepping away from it. They're stepping more into it. And they're wondering why things aren't working out, because they're giving it fuel, that energy. And when you can isolate your energy, step back, you're not feeding their energy anymore. You're letting them be. You're giving them space to be in their own mess. You can stay in your own mess. I'm going to be over here protecting my own being, honoring my boundaries, honoring my energy. And we just need to remind the youth that we think we are this body, this mind, these problems are permanent. They are not. Everything is energy and everything can be transmuted.
Everything is energy. I agree with that. Um, you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. How you act and how you react, it's totally up to you. You are completely in control of how you react to a situation. If I understand anger, trust me, I do.
Hmm.
Um, it took me a long time to understand the fact that I was allowing my anger to fuel my negativity. I was like, oh, woe is me. Parents abused me. Parents were bad people. My parents were my parents. They loved how they could.
Hmm.
They were imperfect people. My father's abuse, my mother's abuse was how they were raised.
Hmm.
My grandfather raised my father on the back of his hand.
Mm.
And that's how they tried to raise me. But I had other ideas in mind because I physically and emotionally was too attached to my body to allow it to affect me that way.
Mm.
And as soon as I woke up from that nightmare that I was in, it all started making sense. This vicious circle that we have from our from our grandparents' parents to their parents to their parents to our parents to us to our kids to it's all a vicious circle. And if you look at our society as it is, it's all a vicious part of it. You know, everybody that goes out there and commits a crime, or you assault somebody or you shoot somebody, it's all part of how you were raised.
Hmm.
And if we would step back and look at our life, look at the way our children are coming up and acting, and took responsibility for it, and ask ask the question, how are you feeling? And literally ask it and want to know, are they struggling? What are they struggling with? Is there a bully in their life? Yeah, I've had a couple. Once you identify the triggers that prompt those negativity thoughts, the next time you're facing that, you'll stand there and think, ah, this is what we're talking about. So the person that's bullying you is unhappy because their family life is unhappy, and their family life it's everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you got to stop the cycle. You got to ask the question, how do I stop? And then do it. People think that healing is easy. It's a never ending cycle. Healing is an everyday thing. 53 years old, I'm still healing from my childhood trauma
Mm.
because it's a never ending thing. But I'm smarter now because when I'm faced with those situations, as I was as a young man, I know how to handle it. I know how to sit there and listen to it, or I sit there and watch it
Mm.
and try to help.
Yeah,
So,
you made some really good points there. So I want to go through a few of them. When I see reactions, I usually see reactions as habitual patterns or just default
mhm,
patterns. So we don't really want to react to a situation. We want to stop ourselves and respond to a situation. I see responding as more of a deliberate act, and reaction is habitual. It's based on our program, our habits. And you really mentioned a magic word that I think is missing a lot in society is personal responsibility. I know when I was very sick, I was constantly seeing doctors because it was their responsibility to fix me. When I took responsibility for myself, then things changed. It's like, oh, meditation creates inner peace. I need that. And then, taking that responsibility to do that daily practice. But before, I was constantly giving my personal responsibility over for the doctors. It was their job to fix me.
Mhm.
And that's once I said, nope, that's on me. If I'm unwell, unhealthy, it's on me. It's my responsibility. So it's taking that personal responsibility. And then you mentioned healing. It's not our job to fix ourselves. Healing is left for spirit, soul. That's where the true healing comes from. So when we're in the material world and we're expecting doctors, medicine, others outside of us, we want to give that back over to our spirit. Like when I heard perfect spirit, I just knew all was well and everything was over. And then I allowed spirit to lead me through healing. Do this, do that. I was never trying to heal myself. It was impossible for my mind. My mind had no clue. Like, how do I reverse multiple sclerosis? How to reverse bipolar? The mind has no clue. So we go see all these doctors. We take all this medicine. Yes, they are useful, but they're not going to produce a cure. The cure is within us because you are spirit connected to the infinite creator. And if we can just let go, surrender that busy mind, go beyond our head trash and be the vibrant soul and follow those insights, those gut reactions that feel right to us, then do those steps without the mind second guessing yourself. That's one of the things that I hear that I did differently than most people is I trusted my intuition, my insights 100%. I didn't question them. So when I heard that deeper knowing that I need to go do yoga, I just did yoga. My mind was in protest. You're not flexible. You don't have any balance. I was using a cane at that time. I literally didn't have any balance. But I did yoga. I did the props. I did whatever it needed to do yoga. And I listened to that voice, 6 months of doing yoga. No more cane. I was off half my medicine by that time. I just trusted that deeper knowing that's within all of us if we can just quiet that mind down or stop giving it attention, stop taking it as your source of truth. And that's where we get into trouble is, we're taking that mind as a source of truth. And unfortunately, so what can we do about this suicide problem? Because we really do have a suicide problem across the world. If everybody's killing themselves every 36 seconds or whatever it is right now, is because they're consumed by the dark night of the mind. They can't step out of this really strong negative pattern because, and we see that with COVID, we thrive when we communicate as a society, not in isolation. So we need to start connecting with individuals, talking to people. Like we mentioned before, that no one's really listening to each other. They're in their own world. But somebody says, I hear you, I get you, I understand. This makes a difference. And one of the stories that is just coming to me was Joel Osteen. He's this pastor, but he makes a habit of talking to everyone. And this guy was suicidal. And he says, well, if no one talks to me today, I want to kill myself. Well, Joel Osteen saw this guy that day and started talking to him. And the guy didn't commit suicide because somebody listened to him. And that's just it. We get into our isolated world. If we just say hello to somebody, smile to someone, that might be enough to change their world. A little act of kindness goes a long ways.
Mhm. I agree. And I like what you said about head trash. I like that term, head trash, because it is. It's trash.
Yeah, we
And
want to throw it out.
yep. And you need to get rid of it. And I know it's hard. I know it's a constant battle to get rid of it all and to stay focused on what you want. And I know that um, as we wrap up here, and it's, yeah, Sam and I can talk for hours on this subject and never end the conversation because it's always something to talk about. But I encourage all of you to sit there and ask yourself, what can I do for me?
Hmm.
I don't care about anybody else. What can I do? What is the single most biggest thing you can do for yourself on a daily basis? And then do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to cost anything. It doesn't have to cost much time or money or take up anything. It
Yeah.
could be as simple as on your way to work in your peace and quiet of your car, giving yourself the space to yell or scream or cry or talk. Nobody's People are going to be listening. God Almighty is listening. So
Hmm.
give yourself grace.
Yeah.
It's not all that bad. We may seem like it is because our mind is making it out to be, but it's not. Financial problems, everybody has them. Everybody's got debt. Everybody's got family issues. Everybody's got it in some way or form. It's there.
Mm.
It's just how you react to those problems. So there you have it.
Yeah, that's what once again, we want to get out of the reactionary phase and respond. And this head trash can be, it's a daily practice to get rid of the head trash. And I have a head trash detox on my website. It's free. I also have the inner healer on my website. There's a whole bunch of resources free on my website, beyondheadtrash.com. And they can just get this head trash detox. That's what I basically did for myself, was this daily mental shower of getting rid of all this mental debris. We take a physical shower every day to get rid of the debris, but what are we doing about our mental debris? All this garbage and negativity that you're not good enough, they're not worthy, and this nonsense that keeps life the same. And we just want to slow down, and we want to look for, I wouldn't say for that big thing, what's that one small thing you can do that will change the course of your life? And that one small thing is just learning to be present, that we're either in our thoughts or we're here. So where are your feet? Just get yourself back to center, back to this moment, and see how you can respond to the challenges, because we all have financial challenges, health challenges, relationship challenges, career challenges. There's 1,001 challenges that we're facing daily. They never stop. So the best you can do is be here and look to see how you can respond to the situation, as opposed to panicking and reacting that will keep things the same.
Yep. Sam, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Will, it's been great to be here with you.
Yeah. Thanks for the conversation. It was very enlightening. And
Yes, I enjoyed it, Will.
you and I will have many conversations to come. And
Absolutely.
I just encourage you, if you need help or if you need somebody to listen, you can find me on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. Um, and just reach out if you need anybody to talk to. So thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Mm.